Stories. They shape our thoughts, fuel our imagination, and are often a gateway into other worlds. Some stories are as old as time itself, but there are new stories being discovered and shared every day, in different ways, shapes, and forms. Stories from home and stories from lands beyond our own, some familiar and some we make our own. We all know the importance of stories. Welcome to this magnificent odyssey of stories that has traveled all the way from South Asia, bringing you stories from India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. To tell you more, please welcome Chief Business Officer ZEE5 Global, Archana Anand.
Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for the much-awaited launch of ZEE5 in the United States of America. Something we've been waiting to say for nearly 3 years now, since we first launched in 2018. I'd like to especially thank the media in the United States for joining us here today and for all their support in letting every South Asian in the US know about ZEE5's launch. The United States is the final and most exciting bastion in our global journey. And reaching out to the nearly 5.4 million South Asian diaspora audience that has been so eagerly awaiting our arrival is easily going to be the best part of this journey yet. While the US is a new market for ZEE5, it's a country that we as a group have had a long-standing association with. One that goes way back to 1998, when we launched our flagship channel ZEE5 in this market. Today, with over 15 channels across multiple Indian languages, the US remains one of our key markets and one where we now look to further build out our growth story, inclusive of a much younger demographic and with far more contemporary content. With ZEE5, we now look to empower our consumers with more choice, more freedom, and more access to their favorite entertainment across multiple platforms. Our audience will now have access to young, hip, real, and engaging stories and genuinely representative of a cool new South Asia, both in terms of culture and content. Now, let me tell you a little about ZEE5. In our 3-year journey across the globe, we have made a distinct mark for ourselves as the destination for the best of entertainment across Bollywood and Indian language content. We galloped to #1 across key SAARC markets within weeks of launch. We've built a strong presence across APAC and MENA regions and have a fast-growing presence across UK and Europe. We've released over 75 shows every year over the past 3 years, making us by far the most prolific creators of original content. We are the only streaming platform to invest in and give Bangladeshi content its much-deserved place on the world stage and at this scale. We boast a lot of award-winning content in our library and have won multiple awards for Streaming Platform of the Year. We have built out over 50 premium partnerships across the globe, across top telecom operators and other ecosystem partners. As a platform, we've seen nearly 200% growth in subscription revenue over the last year, with Europe and MENA driving the charge. With this launch in the US, we now come in as the foremost brand for South Asian content, boasting beyond our incredible Indian library, the most comprehensive library across Pakistani and Bangladeshi content, fiction and non-fiction, reality shows, originals, movies, and more across 18 languages, thereby ensuring that nearly every Indian and South Asian community has a strong bouquet of language content to look forward to. You can also expect to be treated to the best of movies and originals just as they are launched in the subcontinent, keeping you abreast and entertained in real time. Let me now share some details of our plans for the US market, our campaign, our content, and why we're so very sure that we're going to win your hearts over. We're bringing ZEE5 into the US as a premium subscription service, one that offers 130,000 hours of content with 100 plus hours getting added every day. Content available across 18 languages. That's 12 Indian languages and 6 international languages across both content and navigation. For the Telugu communities in Texas and the Tamil communities in California, for the Bengali and the Bangladeshi communities in New York and New Jersey, and for our Hindi and Urdu speaking audiences across. And for your ease, this content even comes with English subtitles. With ZEE5, you'll also get the largest width and depth of content across categories. 1,600 plus TV shows, 3,500 plus movies, 200 plus originals, and 600 plus music, health, and lifestyle videos to be added very soon. 120 plus world digital premieres till date. Blockbuster releases like Salman Khan's Radhe, Your Most Wanted Bhai. Exclusive premieres like Friends, The Reunion in India. And SS Rajmouli's RRR that's coming soon to the platform. You'll find us available across all key devices, iOS, Android, smart TVs, Roku, Fire Stick, and more. All of this and more affordably priced at just $6.99 for a monthly pack and an annual pack heavily discounted from $84 to a very attractive $49.99 as an introductory offer. We also have a very special discount coming up for students where the monthly pack will be available at a very affordable $4.99 against a rack rate of $6.99. With that quick snapshot, let's now move on to why we're all really here. To join me in officially launching ZEE5 in the US, I'm thrilled to introduce you to our very special guest of honor, arguably the most successful Bollywood actor to cross over to Hollywood. A person who has straddled 2 worlds and 2 cultures with great ease and elan, and is therefore, to our mind, the perfect person to be the chief guest at the ZEE5 USA launch. Please join me in welcoming actor, producer, activist, and entrepreneur, Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
Thank you so much. So good to be here. And hi to everyone watching. I'm very happy to be here today.
Thank you so much for joining us here today, Priyanka. We're really excited about this launch. So without further ado, let's officially launch ZEE5 into the US.
Let's do it. Team of ZEE5. This is very exciting.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. This here is an incredibly special moment for all of us. We've also got a lovely brand campaign that I think will deeply resonate with you because it's so rooted in a world we know, a vibrant and gorgeous land of a million stories. Wouldn't you agree, Priyanka? Given that's our reality, just imagine our stories.
I absolutely think you're right. I think the South Asian diaspora has an incredible history. I mean, just Asia in itself has a history that goes back thousands and thousands of years. India itself has the diversity of so many various languages. So when you just think of even Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India, the amount of stories that we can tell, the amount of languages that we can tell them in, the amount of cultures that we can represent, I mean, the possibilities are endless. So I can absolutely see why you're doing this.
I can't, agree more. And that's why I'm so excited, to be able to bring this common context that we have to this land and to this audience. I think is going to be tremendously fascinating for them. So I'm, just hugely excited about what this can mean for this market.
And also to be able to have localized stories for, where you come from. I mean, especially when I lived in the States and I've lived in India. I traveled between both countries and I've seen, there is, when you're away from home, there's a longing that you have for home. And to have that hyper localized content just for me from my house, I think as an audience, it'll be so amazing to have. Tell me a little bit more about the campaign and what you guys plan with ZEE5 and the launch in America.
I'm going to tell you about the campaign, but I have to react to what you just said. When we planned this is really what we hoped for, that we would be fulfilling this need of people who are in the US and sort of having this longing for the land they have now moved away from, for all those familiar emotions, for that fabulous storytelling that they moved away from, and what we can magically create, in helping them, sort of bring them back to that memory. So it's wonderful to hear you say that, because then that sort of totally justifies the way we've been thinking this far. But yes, absolutely. To come back to the campaign itself.
And let me add that this campaign will be taken across the USA in a massive but highly targeted marketing blast to reach every South Asian. You will see us go 360 across all relevant mediums: TV, radio, outdoor, and digital. It's a good time for me to announce that this campaign will also be taken into Canada, which is another market that we also intend to launch alongside. We see much potential here, given that we have a tremendous amount of content across languages like Hindi, Punjabi, Tamil, Telugu, perfect to cater to the key diaspora audiences within the Canadian landscape.
I mean, I think just, the languages that you spoke about in all of North America, I think there's such a massive South Asian population that would be so hungry for this hyper-localized content in their own languages. So I think, this is a really great step, and congratulations to you and to the consumers who are going to be getting such great content right to them, to their doorstep.
Hey, thanks, Priyanka. That's, really what we're hoping for, and it's incredibly exciting. And we're really bullish about the Canadian market.
And we thought it appropriate to launch it alongside the US, given the synergies. So Priyanka, before we move on to the content launch, since there's an eager audience out there who's excited to know about your journey, if I may ask you a couple of questions in that spirit.
Of course, please.
As you know, ZEE5 has its roots in India, but has traveled across the world and today has built a strong identity as a destination for South Asian content. Much like you, in a sense. As someone who has such a strong association with South Asia and who carries that mantle with ease and pride, tell us a little about your own journey.
Wow, my journey. I wrote a whole book about it. But, I am, wherever in the world I go, I'm made in India. I believe that. You can take me out of India, but you can never take India out of me. It's in my roots. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I play is Hindi music, and all my parties end with Hindi music. And I lived in the States and in India during my childhood, and then at about 17 I entered the entertainment business, the big bad world of entertainment, and it was really good to me. It's a lot of hard work, but I didn't know that where I stand today, there was no way I could have ever predicted. Where I'm standing today is, where my journey would go 20 years ago. But I think perseverance, hard work, and being proud of where you come from takes you a long way.
What you said makes us so terribly happy and reiterates why we have you as our chief guest here today.
The connect you have to the land that you sort of have left behind, and the tremendous pride that all South Asians have when they look at you in terms of what you've achieved in this new land of yours is what makes it just perfect, for us to have you as a chief guest today. So it's wonderful to hear what you've said.
Thank you so much. But to me, I mean, being one of the very few people that have had the privilege of this opportunity of being able to be in the entertainment business in two of the largest entertainment industries in the world, that my quest is to be able to create more recognition, representation, and to be able to have South Asians, people of where I come from, feel seen, and feel heard, especially within the international community outside of South Asia. So which is why I'm really glad that you guys are doing what you are, and which is why the synergy, I guess, works, is because that's absolutely my personal quest as well.
Oh yes, there is definitely a connect and synergy, because that is definitely our aspiration, to let the world know that South Asian stories are beautiful, that it comes from a gorgeous land, and that it will fascinate you were you to ever view those stories. So it's really us wooing them, saying, come and watch our stories. Our land is incredible, and our history is long and old and gorgeous. Fantastic. Priyanka, our USA launch is something that we waited so long, and it's so close to our hearts. And today, it's an honor to be sharing the stage with you. Would you like to just share some free-flowing thoughts?
I've been sharing quite a few of them, but I'm very proud to be where I am today, and I'm very proud of where I come from. My ethnicity, my nationality doesn't define me, because I am who I am, but is my identity for sure. And there's a big difference, that I'm not someone who's defined by where I come from or where I'm living or any of that. But what I'm made of is definitely made in India.
That is just so appropriate to journey of our own brand, and I think it just sits really warmly for all of us. Here's to ZEE5 with its stories from afar that'll inspire one and all.
Let's talk genres. We've seen you in romantic, action, thriller movies, and your show Quantico. Out of all these, what genres do you tend to lean towards when consuming content for personal reasons? And what is closest to your heart? And if you had to mention one on ZEE5, which one would that be?
To me, when it comes to genres, I'm a little biased to dramas, and big Bollywood entertainers as well. The Nach, Ghana, and all the masti magic. Like recently I saw Ranveer's movie Simba, which was so fun and amazing, and all things that our big spectacle movies stand for. So yeah, I can't say that there's one genre or not that I love, but a good old Bollywood masala movie is just so much fun.
I have to tell the audiences, I haven't prepped her when she said that she wants drama and Bollywood, blockbusters. That's what you're going to get on ZEE5. And so I'm terribly glad that those are the genres she called out, because that makes it fantastic for us too. So Priyanka, I hope you're watching a lot of content on our platform, because we got just what the doctor ordered for you.
Let's go.
And now the moment we've all been waiting for. The media, the consumers, and everyone else. A look at the stories we've been talking about. A look at the endless library that's waiting for you on ZEE5. As well as a sneak peek into some of the 50+ theatrical releases, 40+ originals across languages lined up for this year.
See me, lie, you never लगता है कि पूरी वादी पूरी जिंदगी खूबसूरत हो गई।
लोगों को सेंसेशनल न्यूज चाहिए, वो भी विद इमोशनल कनेक्ट। आई वांट दैट ह्यूमन इंटरेस्ट स्टोरी।
अभी तो तुम्हें वहां लेकर आई हूँ जहां से तुम ख्वाब देखना शुरू करोगे।
हमारी छोटी सी चिंगारी जंगल की आग की तरह फैली।
Welcome. Let's have some fun.
I am the queen of this whole damn jungle.
अब शुरू हुआ है कहानी में ट्विस्ट।
Will you marry me?
To freedom, to life, to choices.
I have a man I love, and I may just lose him.
আপনি এখন বুঝবেন আমি কি জিনিস। জঙ্গল জঙ্গল
एकदम जगात।
Hi guys.
This is Tajal Ali.
Chandu Gowda. This is Chandu.
This is Ashika Padukone.
আমি শ্যামল মাওলা।
நான் உங்க புது புது வார்த்தைகள் பவித்ரா பேசுறேன்.
এর জন্য একটা সুখবর আছে।
ZEE5 is finally launching in the USA.
உங்களோட ஃபேவரட் ZEE5 இனிமே USA ல வரப்போகுது।
ZEE5 এখন আমেরিকা দেখা যাচ্ছে।
ZEE5 is available in USA right now.
ஏன்னா ZEE5 இப்போ USA ல ஏன்னா நம்ம ZEE5 இப்போ US ல ZEE5 এখন দেখা যাবে USA তে now in USA இப்போ அந்த ZEE5 app USA லயும் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆயிடுச்சுங்க
So ZEE5 will now be available in the USA.
என்னோட
US fans ellarum
you have now access
to the largest streaming platform for South Asian content.
Now you can watch Sunflower,
watch my new movie Radhe,
watch my show Contract, and of course my show 390.
ZEE5 के என்னோட மனமார்ந்த வாழ்த்துக்கள்.
All you guys out there, you can download the app. आज ही download करो ना ZEE5 app.
So what are you waiting for?
See you there.
How exciting was that? What do you think, Priyanka?
I think it was great. Congratulations on just, paving the way for so much talent in India.
We also have some of your hit movies, Andaz, Anjana, Anjani, and others. And we should hopefully see some more get added onto that very soon.
I hope so too.
Is there something you're not telling us, something up your sleeve already?
Look at you, that was such a quick catch. You know what? That's for me to know and you to find out very soon.
Since you're not going to tell, we're just going to hope. And we really hope there's going to be some interesting things coming from your stable and maybe on to ZEE5.
We're committed to bringing our viewers a fresh new content slate every month, if not sooner.
Well, that sounds amazing to me.
Yes, thanks, Priyanka. Over the next few months, we will also be unveiling many strategic partnerships that will help us go directly to consumer. Announcing today our partnership with NAAIS, North American Association of Indian Students. As a registered nonprofit, NAAIS today connects, educates, and mobilizes over 850,000 students and young professionals of Indian origin in the US. And this is an exciting audience set. Over the next few months, we will be driving multiple initiatives, including student outreach programs across universities and colleges in the US, and numerous philanthropic endeavors, including COVID-19 relief efforts. We have Sudhanshu Kaushik with us, who's the Executive Director of NAAIS, and will tell you a little more about the work we will jointly be doing together. Sudhanshu, over to you.
Hi, I'm Sudhanshu, and I'm the Executive Director of the North American Association of Indian Students. NAAIS is so excited to team up with ZEE5 to conduct a summer and fall community tour that will take us to colleges in over 40 states and 150 universities. Our aim is to bring a sense of community and provide a wealth of knowledge and entertainment, regardless of how far you are from India. ZEE5 and NAAIS plan to make an extensive impact by working on a variety of projects and campaigns in the near future. Their philanthropic support will ensure that Indian students in the United States have a constant support system. But what excites me the most about this partnership is that ZEE5 is so personal to me. Growing up in a small town in rural Alabama, the content that now exists on ZEE5 was the only connection I had to India. I hope ZEE5 does extraordinarily well in what it's already so good at, providing opportunities for people to make a community and connection through its content. NAAIS is honored to be part of their mission and expanding it to a younger audience to ensure that Indian students have a community to turn to learn from, and most of all, to be able to enjoy their time, even if it's just for a moment, to forget about all that's happening around the world. And this is just the beginning.
Now, I know the media has a lot of questions, so let's get started with the Q&A. Any question that we aren't able to cover in today's session, we'll definitely get back to you on. Over to the media session.
Okay, Archana, this question comes to you from Ilyas Qureshi from News India Times in the US. His question is, do you see viewers here wanting to watch the same shows as in India, or do you think there will be a difference?
Oh, I think absolutely. They do tend to watch a lot of what is being watched in India. I think, what is trending tends to travel through word of mouth or through social media. And I think what people are watching, especially in the South Asian population in the US, sort of trends from what's happening in India. And the movies and shows that do really well in India also tend to be loved by their South Asian counterparts in other parts of the world.
Hi Priyanka. The first question is from Manju Raman, Filmfare Middle East. How do you see regional Indian language content being perceived in the US for the ethnic diaspora? Considering that Purple Pebble Productions is into producing winning regional content.
Well, first of all, hi Manju, thank you for your question, and it's been too long since I have seen you. But I think this is a really interesting time for content from everywhere in the world. Specifically, regional Indian cinema, I feel like has exponentially grown. I mean, when I started making regional movies, that was about 6 years ago. It was still very nascent in becoming mainstream, but now you can see regional cinema from India dominating charts in the US and China. So I think there's a massive hunger from the South Asian communities to see their own localized content, to see themselves being represented. So I think this is a really amazing time. And with streaming services being able to provide us that platform, I think people everywhere will feel represented.
So, Archana, here's another question for you. This is Rehan Siddiq from Hum FM in Houston. He would like to know, why was Priyanka Chopra your choice to join you for the launch today?
Lovely question. So Priyanka Chopra Jonas is a wonderful example of somebody who India is very proud of, because she has made a mark for herself in India and then went on to cross over from Bollywood to Hollywood and made a wonderful mark for herself in this country as well. Given that ZEE5 is on a similar trajectory or journey of having made its mark in India and is now looking to cross over to the US, I think Priyanka Chopra Jonas is just that perfect person to have as our chief guest today.
Hi Priyanka. The second question is from Enid Parker from Khaleej Times. OTT has globalized content, and South Asians who have migrated to countries like the United States have a greater sense of connection now to the stories they can relate to and do not have to rely on movies from their native lands, making it to the big screen in their new homes. As someone who shuttles across the globe for her projects, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I love streaming. I think of course, I love theaters as well, and there's no world in which I'm not going back to a theater as soon as it opens, because that experience is very special, and I don't think theatrical is going anywhere. But I think the freedom that streaming or OTT has provided to the audiences around the world is, being able to watch a movie in the comfort of your home on your own couch with your family and put your feet up in your pajamas and have the experience you want while watching a movie that maybe would have been in that one theater in one part of America where you would have to drive many hours to go see. Now there's such a freedom, and I think that's amazing because it's spreading culture, it's teaching people, it's educating people. There's such a large new audience that is also being being exposed to all kinds of Indian cinema. So I think this is a really, really exciting time. And I think we should embrace streaming as much as we can. I mean, it's not the future, it's the present.
Archana, Hi India Weekly, again in the US, wants to know, do you have the same content in India as you do in the US? Is it the same content across global markets also?
Largely, yes, it is. There are a few occasions where we have rights purely for India, but very largely, the content that we have in India is what we have in the rest of the world.
Hi Priyanka, this is the next question. The pandemic has seen people worldwide turning to digital devices and content for entertainment during the many lockdowns. Did you tune into more web series or movies at the time?
I mean, obviously, just like everybody else in the world, I was consuming a lot of TV/movies. I watched a little bit of both. It depends on my mood. I love watching movies. Movies are something that I really enjoy the experience of, but sometimes it's really fun to binge watch a whole series as well. So I'm really moody about that, but I definitely consume both.
Archana, Raju Sethi from US would like to know, are you open to working with local content producers in the US, or can they approach you with ideas for shows also?
Yes and yes. I mean, it's a yes to both questions. We are open to working with local, partners, and we're very open to being approached.
Hi Priyanka. The next question is from Bollywood Film Fame, Canada. You have long been associated with producing and being part of good work outside of just Hindi cinema. But as the need for digital art expands, do you think artists and creative people are experimenting more?
As they should, I think. I think, I don't call it experimenting. I call it evolution. I think that storytelling needs to evolve. Formatting of stories need to evolve. And I think that's what you're seeing in Indian cinema now is the freedom of streaming services is allowing people to have, larger thoughts than the formula that existed before. There should be 5 songs and there should be like these few scenes, there should be a fight sequence, there should be, like that formula has gone away. Now people want to tell great stories. They want to tell stories which are real, want to tell stories which identify. And that's just amazing because it gives filmmakers an opportunity, new filmmakers an opportunity, new writers, new actors to come into an industry that was monopolized for a very long time by a very specific number of people. So I think it's a really great time for growth, for entertainment, and specifically for Indian cinema.
Another question for you, Archana. This is from Balkishan Shukla from Divya Bhaskar in the US. Will you be adding on other languages as relevant for the US market?
Yes, we will in time. We intend starting with the current bouquet of key South Asian languages, but we do have a big aspiration to ultimately do a crossover for the mainstream audiences also to watch us. Bollywood has already captured the hearts of people all over the world, and we know that lots of people in America of the mainstream nature do watch Bollywood and love it. So a crossover where you're sort of giving this content to people in English and then maybe later on in Spanish and Arabic could well be part of our trajectory.
We have another question for you, Archana. This is Monjur Hussain from Desh in the US. His question is, South Asians in the US are very heterogeneous. There are many different communities and not one community. How do you plan to reach out to such a diverse set?
That's a lovely question because I think just for that particular problem statement, there is nobody better equipped than ZEE5. Given the fact that we have a fabulous bouquet of content, not only in Telugu, but also in Tamil, in Marathi, in Bengali, now in Urdu, in, obviously Hindi, and Bangla and Bangladeshi, we really are very well equipped to cater to those many heterogeneous groups that you spoke about, and are really better poised than most, actually, to cater to this problem statement. So we do look forward.
Hi Priyanka. The next question is from Bhargavi Kulkarni, a freelance journalist from the United States of America. You have produced films in English, Hindi, and regional languages like Bhojpuri, Marathi, and even Assamese. Was it a conscious decision to back regional content, or were it the stories that appealed to you?
It was a very conscious decision, Bhargavi, to start with regional cinema. When I first, and this was before I produced English language entertainment. This was before I had moved properly and consolidated my career within Hollywood and in America. So the idea was that I come from all parts of India. Because my parents were in the military, I moved around a lot. My mom is from Bihar, Jharkhand. My dad is from Punjab. I have family from the south. I was posted in many, many places. My dad was posted in many places around the country. So I was raised with many different Indias. I was never raised with just one India. I lived in UP. So I think I was very excited when storytelling started happening. When I became a producer, I was very excited to, while I was going global, I wanted to go local with the stuff that I was producing. Because when I joined the industry, I didn't have anybody encouraging me. I didn't have anyone who was pushing me. So I wanted to create opportunities where opportunities were less. And I felt like regional cinema did not get the mainstream push at that time that it deserved. And I wanted to get behind that and tell stories which would give new filmmakers opportunities, which would give new talent opportunities, where they probably wouldn't have. Most of the regional movies that I made are mostly with first-time directors and writers. So that's something that I take a lot of pride in. That I want to always, every step I take forward, I want to turn around and pull somebody with me. So that was the idea of doing regional cinema, and I'm really glad I got the opportunity to do so many.
Archana, we have a question from Sushma Sharma from Radio Mirchi in the States. Her question is, do you think you have enough relevant content that will be engaging for a younger audience?
We do, in fact. we've constantly endeavored to ensure that we, sort of cater in terms of acquisition and creation to a younger audience. We recently acquired the entire TVF bouquet, which is very clearly for a younger audience. But there's, a lot of content within our ecosystem that is very much geared to a youth audience. And we will continue to acquiring in that vein too.
The next question is from India West, from United States of America. Much like ZEE5, you are taking India and South Asia to the world and helping them see it differently. How receptive are audiences, especially younger generation South Asian Americans in the US, to experimenting with such content?
I think it's a tricky time. I think it's going to be very important for the zeitgeist, the Gen Z, which is outside of India and maybe not very exposed to Indian cinema. I think for them to get interested, the kind of content we're seeing on streaming services right now is where they're getting interested. I think that the new content that is being created in the last 5 years, I think, you'll see such a massive variety of content. And I think there's an audience for all of it. So I think young people will be very excited about, getting hyper-localized content just for them, which, is where they stand for in their lives, in their minds. So I think it's a really interesting time for Indian content.
Archana, Karishma Hingorani from Digital Studio Middle East would like to know what the future audience for your content looks like and how does ZEE5 plan to adapt to that generation?
Well, I think, what we have done is we managed to garner a lot of love on the back of our linear channels or the Zee TV itself. And that does tend to be a slightly older audience. We are very, very consciously acquiring content and, going after a younger set. I talked about the work we're doing with NAIS, which is very consciously trying to take this content to a younger audience, to cater to their needs, to ensure that we have enough really exciting content that'll capture their fascination. So definitely getting to the younger set and ensuring that they find ZEE5 an exciting destination is very much part of the plan.
We have another question also from the Middle East for you, Archana. This is from Sabah Bano Malik from Arab News. She would like to know, how long has the plan to stream in the US been in the works? And what are the expectations for response from members of the subcontinent diaspora?
Well, we launched ZEE5 in India in February of 2018. And in October of the same year, we took it across 197 countries, barring the US. So US has been on our anvil ever since then. We had some obligations that sort of, didn't allow us to come in earlier. But now it's good. And I think it's better late than never. We're terribly excited about being able to come into this market at this juncture.
Hi, Priyanka. The next question is, as an actor, how has your craft evolved with the evolution of OTT?
I've always been someone who's very focused on my craft. So my craft and my sort of seeking my level of excellence, that evolves every year with every step that I take. I'm always like, how can I be better? What can I do that is a step forward for me in my direction? And I think what streamers have done has definitely, being able to see streaming has given me as a producer also the freedom to be able to think of any stories that I want to tell and be as creative in developing whatever stories I want to tell. So that freedom is really amazing to have. And as an actor, I guess, you have to really be true to the story. So I think it's the being able to choose so many different kinds of things with streaming coming in and the avenue not just being one. I think that's what's changed for me, is the mindset.
Archana, Raj Badan from BizAsia UK has a question for you. He wants to know, how do you think ZEE5 will perform with the saturated digital market we're living in the US? And he also has a follow-up question. How excited are you to be launching ZEE5 in the US this month?
Well, I'll answer the second question first. We're terribly, terribly excited. I think everything that you saw today is just a function of our excitement. We believe it's a fantastic market. Well before we launched, we've had more than 500,000 people come and put in their queries, asking us when ZEE5 is coming into this market. So we know that there is a lot of, excited energy and a lot of anticipation for ZEE5. With respect to it being a competitive market, of course it is competitive. What isn't? But I believe that ZEE5 has a very distinct proposition. The fact that we have such a depth of content across individual languages, going across both movies and originals, really does give us, a real advantage. Like we mentioned, we also have a lot of digital premieres lined up that's going to come directly onto our platform. We also have some amazing originals. And this goes well beyond Hindi into Telugu and Tamil and Kannada. And, I think the kind of South bouquet that we're going to come up with is going to be quite stellar. And I think it is really going to capture the diaspora audiences in the US. And I think it's going to be, a real treat for them. With that, we come to the close of today's event. Thank you so much, Priyanka, for joining us today. We've had media and people joining in from all over the globe, from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the Middle East, UK, and of course the US and Canada. Thank you all for being with us today. Before we end today's event, I'd like to hand over to Priyanka to sign off with a message to her fans.
Well, first of all, I'd say thank you so much for having me. I had a great time and a big, big congratulations on this endeavor to you guys. I wish you the best. And just to, the South Asian demographic, I guess, you're the wind beneath my wings, and, you're my family, you're my community, you're my identity. And, you've given me so much love and support over almost 2 decades. And I hope that will always continue. So it was really, really happy to be here. Thank you for watching us online, and I hope to see you very soon.
That's all for now, folks. We hope that this marks the beginning of your enduring love affair with ZEE5. Stay well, stay safe.